Hey guys, we are back again with our partners over at Fanatics Sportsbook and talking fan cash. Most sportsbooks, well, their rewards are just fluff, but fan cash is the ultimate sports currency. When you bet with Fanatics Sportsbook, you get up to 10% fan cash back on your wagers, win or lose. Did we mention that they are giving away millions in fan cash this year and that you can use that fan cash on anything in the Fanatics universe? Go check it out yourself and download the app today. Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 or over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app. Hey there, Knicks fans. How you doing? It's your boy, Jonathan Macri, with you for the first post-game live stream of the 2025-2026 season here after a win to start the preseason. Final score of 99-84. The Knicks beat the Philadelphia 76ers in Abu Dhabi. Of course, there's going to be a lot to talk about. I actually made a list of my my top 10 things from this game that I want to discuss. I'm going to get to that list in a couple of minutes. But let me first take a moment to be sentimental. You guys know me. I'm sentimental sometimes. I was thinking about it this morning while I was walking the dog, as I want to do. This is my 9th season doing this in some form or fashion, which is freaking wild. First one of these I ever did, I recorded on my phone. I had to do 3 takes because I kept going over. I think at the time Twitter had like a 2-minute 30-second limit for videos, and I kept like going like just over, so I kept needing to go re-record. It was not live. It was for a game, the first game after the All-Star break of the 2017-18 season. The Knicks played the Orlando Magic. And I pulled up the box score. They actually won the game. Tim Hardaway Jr. Was their leading starting scorer. Trey Burke had 26 points off the bench. It moved them to 24-36. I'm fairly certain they won. Yes, they won 5 games the rest of the way. So that was exciting times. But yeah, that was the start of this. And it's taken on some evolution since then. I mean, shout out to the Periscope days. Shout out when I discovered what YouTube was. Me and Andrew together were like, "Oh, this YouTube thing. We should probably get on that." And now here we are. Speaking of YouTube, charging towards 50,000 YouTube subscribers here for Knicks Film School. It's been quite a journey, and like I'm not sitting here talking about Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Michael Beasley and Enes Kanter and that cast of characters anymore. We're talking about a team that should, maybe that's a controversial statement, but I will say it anyway, win the Eastern Conference and go to the finals for the first time since 1999. Something they were painfully close to doing last year and fell just short. But it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be a Knicks fan. It is an exciting time, certainly, to be a Knicks content creator, which for anybody who may be tuning in to this channel for the first time in a while and missed the summer news, I am now doing full time. Again, you want to talk about how things change, like just absolute madness. It was really cool to be home today. Andrew Claudio came over. He's not here anymore, unfortunately. I was hoping he would stick around for the post game, but Andrew's a busy man. He's got a lot to do, and I think we're a little low on the priority list for him now. But that's. Well, oh, hey, Andrew, what's up? How you doing?
How am I catching a stray after I came over there and made your setup like 15% more better? So that
like
way,
75%.
whatever, like all the wires and the monitor wasn't
It looks
there
great.
and something wasn't plugged in. Look at John's lighting, America. Look at how beautiful he looks. Look at that.
Look at us now,
just
America.
real quick. Look at the great backdrop that you now can see clearly.
I put all that shit up, all right?
You put it all up. Now everybody can see it, okay? Yeah. Yes, I watched the first half with you, and then I picked up my wife from the train station and came home to watch the rest of the game.
I listen.
Also,
yeah.
To be clear, didn't watch a second of the second half, and I missed absolutely nothing.
Well, Tyler Kolek had a few baskets at the end there, which may come up. All right.
I repeat, absolutely nothing.
Listen, shout out to you. These post games became a real thing once you came aboard, and now here we are, which is really cool. Okay, let's talk about this basketball game, shall we? Like I said, I made a list of 10 things, which I'm gonna get into in a minute. But it was just it was good to see the team out there. I think their media day was over a week ago. Yeah, it was like a week and a half ago. It was 10 days ago. So there's been a lot of build up. There's been a lot of anticipation. There's been some more. I won't even call them rumors. I would say there's been some more news nuggets to chew on than you might normally have during this time of year. I'm not actually sure that any other team in the NBA, I mean, putting aside the Kuminga situation, which finally got resolved in Golden State, I'm not sure that there's any other team in the NBA, at least not any good team in the NBA, where there's like extreme intrigue in roster, like who's going to make the final roster at this point in the preseason. But there certainly is for the Knicks, and we saw definitely some of that play out today, which why don't we get right into it? My number one thing, Pakome Dadiet. Not his play, although we will talk about that, but the fact that Pakome Dadiet started this game in place of OG Anunoby. The rest of the starting lineup was as we expected, although I guess there was still some mystery involved with the quote-unquote fifth starter, whether it be Mitch or Hart or Deuce. We'll get to that in a second. But OG Anunoby out with, I guess, a sprained hand. Mike Brown said that he would be day-to-day, so it does not sound like this is anything to be really concerned about. I mean, who knows if it's actually a real injury. I would be willing to bet that it is not. And that this was all about getting Pakome Dadiet a chance to play with the best talent on the roster, a chance to make him look good, potentially for some other teams who might be interested in trading for him, or I think just as likely, give him a chance to prove to the coaching staff, to the front office, hell, to his own teammates, they're like, hey man, I can help this team. And I want to go back to something and shout out to James Edwards III of The Athletic. He's been doing writing some great articles of late. Covered the team last season, was awesome. Came on, spoke with me the other day, and I thought the most notable thing that he said when we were getting into like this roster situation is he's like, do the Knicks think that Pakome Dadiet is going to help them this season? And that sounds very present tense, because it obviously is. And not really thinking about like, well, what might Pakome Dadiet be in year 2, year 3 or year 4 or whatever. I think that's how they're thinking about it. And I think part of why today was so notable is if they just are looking at him and be like, yeah, this guy is not going to be a guy who could help us win games this year, I don't know that we could keep him around. And then the only other thing I want to say to that point is like, look, have there been NBA players who have been not helpful, additions or contributors in year 1 and year 2, and then went on to again, be good players? Absolutely. Pakome Dadiet is still one of the youngest players in the NBA. He just was drafted over a year ago. I still, if like they're looking at him now and they're like, I don't know if we see it. I would say that in their mind, at least, that's a red flag. And yeah, if this was another organization that was not trying to win a championship this year, maybe that would be different. As far as what Dadiet did today, started off pretty rough, stepped out of bounds, not ideal. Traveled when picked up the ball when there was it's like he got the ball on an inbounds. There was a defender in the vicinity. He was like, whoa, there's someone standing right there. And he just like picked up the ball and forgot to dribble. But he also had some nice moments. He had a nice offensive rebound and a putback, which was cool. I thought he had a nice steal that showed some nice defensive anticipation which is certainly, an area that maybe he's going to be judged by throughout the course of his career. Can he contribute on defense? The shot was not there. And ultimately, he was 0 for 5 from 3. His one basket was that putback. Again, if we've heard behind the scenes, the shot looks good, all that stuff. If he's not going to make shots, or if they don't think he's ready to make shots at the in-game action this year, I just think it's going to be hard for them to keep him around over someone like a Landry Shamet or Malcolm Brogdon. And we're going to get to them in a moment. But I would say today for Dadiet, it's a mixed bag. That's number one. Number two, Mitchell Robinson. I know Deuce McBride is the player of the game for a lot of people. Deuce McBride was awesome. I'm going to get to him very soon. But for me, it was Mitch. And it's not just because Mitchell Robinson had 16 rebounds in 18 minutes, which is freaking awesome. He looked like he's in midseason form. He looked like a guy who was ready to pick up exactly where he left off in the playoffs, where you could argue that he was the most consistent player on the roster in terms of how he was able to impact the game on both ends of the floor. And that dude, it looked like the same guy who was out there today, albeit against a bad Sixers team who was obviously missing Joel Embiid and Paul George and the whole thing. But he was dominant. He was doing everything he wanted. And perhaps more importantly than that, it felt like the Knicks were trying to get him involved on the offensive end in ways that we maybe have not seen before. Yes, there were one or two instances where they tried to force passes into his hands, and we know how that goes because we've seen that for however many years Mitch has been in the league. Not generally a good idea. But there were also some other instances where I thought he made, took advantage of the opportunities to become a little bit more, again, involved in the offense. Might not be the right word, but took 6 shot attempts, made 3, had an assist. And I think it's so notable, and this is why it's number 2 on my little list here, because I've been thinking for a while now it's going to be Mitch that's going to start. I think Mike Brown kind of told you today it's going to be Mitch who's going to start. It is a tone-setting decision to start Mitchell Robinson and say, this is going to be our foundation. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of different stuff on offense, and we're going to try to hide some of our weak defenders and this, that, and the other thing. But you know that we are going to be a team when we walk out of the gate, it is going to be elite rim protection, elite pick and roll defense on one end of the floor, and it is going to be hell to pay on the other end of the floor if you do not box out or you are not on your P's and Q's around the basket, because this guy is just going to go grab everything. And shout out to our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook, partnering up with us for another year. Thank you to them. Really excited about that partnership. Folks, go out and whatever the Mitchell Robinson game 1, what do they play? They open against the Cavs. Whatever that rebounding over-under is against Cleveland, I don't know if it's going to be 9.5, 10.5, whatever it is, bet the over. And then bet the over the game after that, and bet the over the game after that, and bet the over the game after that. Or at least that's what I'm going to be doing, because he looks like he is going to be in the running for I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get ahead of myself. It's one half of one preseason game. But Mitchell Robinson looks really good. So, by the way, does Deuce McBride. And I love that I get to start off this post-game talking about the 2 longest tenured Knicks on the roster. That's just really cool, as this team has undergone all these changes and made all these trades and gone all in, as they say, that these 2 guys are still here. And I think the fact that Deuce has been here for so long is part of the reason why a lot of people are, a little bit in their feelings over the thought of them potentially trading him. And to that, let me say 2 things. One, Deuce McBride's a really good basketball player. And I think sometimes I get caught up in what is his ceiling as a small guard who doesn't, initiate offense in the traditional ways. And, he is his size and he can only make up for that so much with his tenacity and all that stuff. But, defensively, it still is what it is. Forget all that. He is still a guy who can go in and give 20 to 25 good to really good to great minutes. And when he is on, and he was on today and he was feeling it, albeit in the second half against some backups, Like, it really is a sight to behold. And you see him and you're like, this guy should at the very least be considered one of the best backups in the league. And that's what he is, which gets me to my second point. And like, I get people going crazy. Like, how are you going to trade this guy to make room for Landry Shamet and Malcolm Brogdon? And to my response to that is, I think a misconception needs to be addressed, which is that if the Knicks, and I don't think they are, we're going to trade Deuce McBride, yes, I am sure that the apron situation is one reason that they would be doing it. It would be a benefit to whatever trade they wound up making. But that would not be the primary reason. It would not be anywhere close to the primary reason to trade Deuce McBride, because if you're trading a Deuce McBride, you're only doing it to make your team better today. And the only way that unless someone is willing to give you like a future unprotected first-round pick, and I got news for you, no one's giving you a future unprotected pick for Deuce McBride, or even a lightly protected first-round pick. Other than that, you're only doing it if you're making your team better today, and that means going and getting a player back for Deuce who is better than Deuce. And I just don't. I've written about this for the Knicks Film School newsletter. Shout out to all my Substackers out there. I just don't see that trade out there. And that's why ultimately look, maybe it happens. Again, shout out to Steph Bondi. He's been all over this. He has mentioned McBride as a name generating trade buzz. Again, I haven't talked to Steph about this. He's going to be on the show at some point, not too long. Obviously, the situation will be resolved by then. But I'll ask him, like, where is that coming from? My guess is that they are maybe testing the waters if they could get a team to give them something crazy. Some crazy package, like overpay for Deuce. And again, even then, what is their definition of an overpay? Because it has to be so good, because this guy is going to help them win basketball games this year and for years to come, as long as he is on the roster. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4, Mike Brown and the players have talked a lot about changing how they play. And I thought you saw that in several ways. Again, shout out to Andrew. We were sitting here watching the game, and he kept like just shouting out random numbers. Like the Knicks would be bringing the ball up the court. He'd be like 19. And then they'd bring the ball up the court next time. Like 20. And then bring the ball up next time. 21. And I'm a little slow, so it took me a while to realize what he was doing. It was how many seconds had gotten off the shot clock when they actually crossed half court. And then I started paying attention to it too. And it really was like 19, 20, 21 seconds. They were flying up the court. And not only that, when they crossed half court, there was a lot of passing. I wouldn't say there was overpassing, but like it was very clear that everybody on the floor, whoever it was, starters, backups, and all the way on down, was making an effort to make the next pass. And that was great. And who did I notice it with the most? And I'm going to get back to him a little bit later, but Karl-Anthony Towns. I made light of the fact in a recent newsletter that Karl-Anthony Towns, out of the top 100 or 120 most frequent drivers of the basketball in the league last year, literally no one passed out of those drives less frequently than Karl-Anthony Towns. To see him drive and kick to the corner was like, oh, you can do this. Maybe someone just needed to go to you and be like, hey, man, look for the corners. If you're driving and someone's over to the corner, make that pass. And then he actually, and that wasn't even my favorite pass he made. My favorite pass that he made was when he tried to hit Deuce coming around, like curling around a screen. He overthrew him a little bit, but I loved the intentionality there. I loved it. It was great to see that from Cat, and it was great to see the passing in general. That said, it will lead me to my fourth thing, which is this is going to be an adjustment. For as much as I think, at least with the starters, the offense was ahead of the defense, I do think, and I'm going to say it, for Jalen Brunson in particular, I think it may take a little bit of getting used to. Like, Jalen Brunson has gotten, and I do not mean this in the slightest bit to be disrespectful, to be very clear, he has gotten very comfortable playing his way. And his way is like, hey, put the ball in my hands. I'm going to either get you a great shot, or I'm going to draw the defense in by dribbling the ball and doing all the crap that I do, and I'm going to get someone else a great shot. And it's really simple. It was simple offense, and it was a simple offense that got people very critical at times, especially during the playoffs, but it was efficient offense. And now they are asking Jalen Brunson, at least in the first, 42, 43, 44 minutes of games, to be more of not a cog. I mean, he's Jalen freaking Brunson. He's going to take over games at times, but to be more a part of the machine than the machine. And look, it's one preseason game. We'll see how he looks in 2 days. We'll see how he looks next weekend. We'll see how he looks over the first, couple weeks of the season. I think it's going to be a bit of an adjustment for him, and I don't blame him for that one bit. And as far as I'm concerned, like, that is going to be the biggest test for Jalen, because if he goes out there and it is a week or 2 weeks or a month and a half, and it's national stories about, well, shit, what's wrong with Jalen Brunson? I'm not saying this is going to be the case, but let's just pretend that it was. He's going to have the confidence and the selflessness to be like, this is what is the best thing for our team long term, so I got to keep working at it. I hope it doesn't even come to that. I hope I'm going to be made to feel ridiculous if he goes out there in the next couple games and it's like, boom, it's like he's taking to this offense like a fish to water. But for me today, I was like, oh, okay, he's not quite there yet. What was that? That was number 5. Number 6, I probably should put this a little earlier. Some injuries, obviously the OG thing, that doesn't seem like it's anything. Josh Hart seemed to pull something in his lower back, and was like, Steve Popper had that tweet that it looked like he was hurting like before he slipped. Like maybe the injury is what caused him to slip and fall on the floor, and then just the utterly ridiculous ejection. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So we hope Josh Hart is okay. I will use it as an excuse, though, to talk about, and this kind of ties into the Dadiet thing, although maybe not, wing depth on this team. This team does not have a lot of wing depth. They have Mikal Bridges, they have OG Anunoby, they have Josh Hart, and then ostensibly Pakome Dadiet is the next wing on the roster. But I'm not sure if that's how we should be looking at it. And the reason is because, we talked about Mitch and how Mitch started, and I think is going to start and play a decent amount of minutes. He played, again, 18 minutes in the first half today. So that was a goodly amount. I don't think he's going to average 36 minutes a game, but I think he'll play somewhere in the neighborhood 25 to 30. So if he's playing all those minutes, and then you're going to get your minutes, a lot of minutes, seemingly, with Karl-Anthony Towns and Yabusele, whether it's Cat at the 5 or Yabu at the 5. And then you got Huck Porty out there, who started the second half, right? No, he didn't start the second half. He came in exchange for Yabusele, so he was a little bit into the second half. I don't know what that means about Huck Porty's potential as a rotation player this year, or a first man up, maybe just outside the rotation. But like, you have Huck Porty. We saw him play NBA games last year. He looked pretty good. So while the wing depth is a concern, I do think that if there was an injury to one of those main 3 wings, they could get by, because God knows they have a lot of guards. And if those other dudes can kind of hold it down with the 4 and the 5, I kind of think they'll be all right. So this isn't a huge concern for me, and it personally probably would not be a reason that I would be inclined to hang on to Dadiet if I was otherwise inclined to have him be the one that gets traded to open up the roster spots. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully Josh Hart is okay. All right. That's a natural transition to my number 7 thing, lineups. I think lineups were probably between the starting lineup, between the different alignments that Mike Brown decided to use. I think that was probably the thing that people were most interested in going into today. And I wrote them all down on here's my stupid little Knicks notepad that I got when I was like 14. Wrote everything down, even though we have a Pivot Fade account. Shout out to Pivot Fade. And you could just look all this stuff up there. Like, I don't know that we should make anything out of any of these specific lineups. Like, Mike Brown was putting in, he put in Yabusele for like a possession and then took him out. He put in Tyler Kolek for a possession and then took him out. Like, I think that was early in the second half. But like, I think at this stage of the preseason, especially these 2 games, and he's kind of admitted this already, he's just seeing how different combos work. Me and Andrew made sure we got this one down pat. There were 2 minutes and 55 seconds of true 5-out ball in the first half. Most of that time was the lineup with Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Yabusele, and Landry Shamet, although Deuce came in for Shamet for about 39 seconds. So we did get some 5-out ball. And I think we will see 5-out ball. I think, and like 2-3 minutes a half, I could see that being about where it lands. Because especially if just do the math. If Mitchell Robinson starts and Josh Hart comes off the bench, well, then you're probably going to have some decent amount of time where either Mitchell Robinson or Josh Hart is on the floor as opposed to both of them. And by the way, that's probably a good thing because, who wants 2 non-shooters on the floor, even though those lineups have actually done pretty well. And I do think you will see Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart play together a decent amount this year. All this is to say, I think you will probably get a few minutes every half, 5 minutes a game, something like that, where you get, again, the true 5-out look. Maybe it's going to be Yabusele and Cat. Maybe it's going to be McBride with the other starters in place of one of the wings. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be McBride in place of Jalen Brunson. I'm curious. That's what I'm curious about. So I don't know if you want to take the fact that the vast majority of the 5-out minutes were basically were Cat, Brunson, Bridges with Shamet and Yabusele. If you want to take that to mean something, that's up to you. I'm not drawing too many conclusions just yet, but transition to point number 8, which is the roster. So what do we make of this? What do we make of the fact that Landry Shamet, not Malcolm Brogdon, got the first half minutes and played with the starters? He was getting good opportunities to go out there. I thought he looked good. He looked spry on defense as always. I didn't even think to check his stat line here. He was 0-2 from 3, 1 of 4 overall. Sorry. I talk about burying the lead. I meant to mention this during the play style point earlier. The Knicks got up 39 threes today. We heard Mike Brown say the goal was 40 a game. They put up 39. That's fine. They were very clearly making an effort to shoot threes. So take note of that. They couldn't hit the far side of a barn, but thankfully neither did Philadelphia 76ers. Were 3 of 35 from deep. That's not great. So they were cold, but look, 39 threes. That's great. And then shout out to Ben Kim Gervey, who's always looking out for this. 91 shots overall. So speaks to their pace of play, and that's great. So Shamet, first half minutes. Malcolm Brogdon, second half minutes. I thought Malcolm Brogdon looked pretty good. And then Tyler Kolek, felt like something of an afterthought today. Although he closed well, which was good. He made, he was aggressive. Took, I think, 3 shots in the last 4 or 5 minutes, made a couple of them, around the basket. That's good. That's what Tyler Kolek needs to be doing. So that's a positive sign. I'm not sure how to read this. Again, James came on with me the other day and was like, in his mind, it's almost a given that Brogdon's going to make this roster. I've kind of felt for a while. I think Shamet is all pretty much guaranteed. They know what they have in Shamet. He's a great locker room guy. He's clearly a dude who's okay sitting 5, 10, whatever number of games, and then coming in hey, we need you for 15 minutes a game for the next 2 weeks because somebody's out. He's fine with that. Whereas Brogdon, I did find it kind of interesting, the Bondi article, and shout out to Steph Bondi for getting all those quotes on the record. I'm not that I'm saying he's, Brogdon said anything wrong, but for Brogdon to come out and be like, I expect to be a part of this rotation. If Mike Brown isn't sure whether Malcolm Brogdon's going to be an every night part of this rotation, does that make them less inclined to even keep him on the roster? And then maybe all this trade discussion just goes away. Maybe they just cut Malcolm Brogdon and it's just Landry Shamet is the vet that they keep. I don't know, but it just depends on how you want to take the reporting, because the reporting has been, pretty clear that Brogdon's going to make the team. And again, I don't know. He didn't play until the second half. We'll see. Maybe he gets some first half minutes, or maybe, maybe he's actually cool with being a guy who only comes in once every 3 games or once every 4 games. But when he gets that opportunity, he's playing 25 minutes. I don't know. I can't get a read on the situation yet, but I do think it's worth thinking about. Number 9, I'm going to steal this point from someone. I don't care that I'm stealing it from them. They know who they are, and they'll hear me steal it from them. And if they want to come and take credit for it next time they're on a show, they can do that. Mikal Bridges' shot. I thought it looked. I didn't think of it, but after it was brought up, I'm like, you know what? That's a great point. I thought his shot looked better. I thought his shot looked smoother, and contrasting it with all of the pearl clutching from the last preseason and obviously last season, I think that's a great thing. He was, where did he go from 3 today? I mean, nobody hit 3s today, but he was 2 of 5. So that's great. Yeah. If he is going to be a good 3-point shooter this year and like approach 40% from deep and like makes him above the break threes, well, that's freaking really good. Now he just needs to get the defense up to snuff. And last but not least, and then we'll get to super chats and a word from our friends at Fanatics. Karl-Anthony Towns. For anybody who's been consuming our summer content, you will know that I have kind of been test driving this role of the cat hater. Mostly because it's my way. It's my way of dealing with my emotions that are left over from last postseason. And maybe that's not the most healthy way to deal with those emotions, but it's the way that I deal with them. So, to each their own. And here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with hating on Karl-Anthony Towns. He's a delight to watch. Is he a delight to watch in a massive playoff game when the stakes are ratcheted up to the nth degree and every mistake stands out and is magnified tenfold? No. Then he is less fun to watch. But during before the middle of April, when he goes out there and he's just he's having fun, he's great attitude towards this stuff, and he's just a brilliant basketball player. He's just really good, and he can still do things that nobody else can really do, and it all comes so easy to him. And so it was nice to see Karl-Anthony Towns, and yes, this is my way of throwing Karl-Anthony Towns and the Karl-Anthony Towns hive. Can an All-NBA player have a hive? I don't know if they can, but I wanted to throw a little olive branch there. It was great to watch. Guy. I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed. What's his name? Garrison Matthews got some run. I should probably mention that he was lighting it up from deep, went 3 of 4 from downtown. Quick trigger. Doesn't need a lot of room. I can't sit here and tell you why Garrison Matthews has not latched on with an NBA team. I mean, he is a shooter with good size, and he is a shooter. I don't know. Is he a dark horse to be a vet that makes this team? I have no idea. We got some Muhammad Diawara minutes. It was nice to see him flying around out there. Kevin McCullough, thanks for participating. He was 0-6 from the field. It's tough noogies there. Jordan Clarkson. Let's end the monologue with this. Shout out to Jordan Clarkson and shout out to Andrew Claudio who made sure we rewound to get this exactly right. Jordan Clarkson taking a off the dribble pull up long 2 with 12 seconds left on the shot clock was easily the best moment of this preseason game. Andrew Claudio was aghast when Jordan Clarkson did this. And that was utterly delightful. He is going to have fans, some fans, pulling their hair out by week 2, 3.
He already has me pulling my hair out in the preseason, John. He is clearly here for a good time, not a long time. So just to reiterate what John is saying, Knicks fans. So
it's a preseason game.
I get it. But we're watching, and sometimes you're trying to take notes, you're scrolling Twitter, and you're trying to just focus on the game, checking box scores. I look up, and it seemed as if they had just inbounded, and he took a step inside the 3-point line, contested, and just took a step back long 2. And I was like, was the shot clock winding down? And you're like, no. It's like, well, then why did he shoot? I turned into Patrick Ewing in the huddle. Like, how often do you shoot that shot? Who told you to shoot that shot? You practiced that shot? When? And so, Knicks fans, I literally rewound the game, like hit back 15 seconds twice to see that, oh, yeah, he just wanted to take a long two with 14 seconds left on the shot clock. It was hilarious.
We're going to, I'll ask you a question before we get to Fanatics. Is Jordan Clarkson your leader in the clubhouse for the 9th highest average minutes on this team?
More plays like that, yes, but I think he's eventually going to find a nice role as a scorer off the bench for this team, like a bucket getter. So, based off today, I would say Yabu is your highest, but that could change, of course.
There's something about, and let's lean on Ian Begley's reporting. Ian's going to be coming on the show early next week, so we'll ask him about this. But like the thing with them being very intrigued with Yabu playing with Mitch and Yabu playing with Cat, it's almost like and I don't know if Mike Brown feels the same way, but like, does the front office view him as this like skeleton key that they could kind of, shout out to Fred, have their cake and eat it too? I don't know. That's the only reason I would say Clarkson averages the 9th most minutes on the team as of now.
Probably a safe bet. There's also the games that Mitch doesn't play that might lead to more Yabu minutes.
That's absolutely a great point.
So, yeah, Clarkson 9th. I don't know if that necessarily matters. They have 7 de facto starters, whatever you want to call Deuce, Yeah. Well,
we'll see. Anyway, moving along.
Shout out to the fine folks at Fanatics Sportsbook.
To the fine folks at Fanatics Sportsbook. Guys, we know injuries are part of the game, but when an injury takes your bet and your sportsbook leaves you hanging, that hurts. That's why our partners at Fanatics Sportsbook hit different. They've got fair play coverage for you. Fanatics Sportsbook protects all pro basketball player prop bets from first half injuries. So just to use an example, I know Josh Hart was ejected. He did not leave with an injury, but let's just say Josh Hart had to leave that game because he hurt his back, which he may have had to do anyway. We don't know because he was ejected ridiculously. Fanatics would have your back in that situation because of fair play. They would not hold any Josh Hart prop bets that you made against you, which is an awesome way to be. This isn't just protection, it's real value for your plays. Fanatics is the home of fair play all season long. Your old sportsbook, they wouldn't do that. So it's time to switch. Download the Fanatics Sportsbook app today. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 or over. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. And Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app. I almost did the thing, Andrew, and I'm going to cross that out right now so I don't do it again. All right. Fuck you, San Diego.
I'm tempted to tweet it out. I gotta get permission.
At some point,
get permission from Fanatics to do it because it's got like a bunch of legal bubble jumbo. Basically, John read a portion of the ad read yesterday.
Well, we were taping it.
While we were recording it. He read a portion that was like, read this clear and precise. Like, and he did it in his broadcaster voice.
Legal/disclaimer.
Yeah.
VO.
It was like legal disclaimer. And it was like, oh, no, that's not part of the legal disclaimer. It's me reading the thing that says this is the legal disclaimer. The clip, if I'm allowed to send it out, is just me, John realizing it and him going to stop, and then me turning my mic on and it's me laughing at him. So,
oh my God. Well, yes. It's not the first time you've laughed at me for something I've done on camera, and it will not be the last.
You do things very funny and easy to laugh at on camera. We are gonna welcome our friends with Fanatics real quick with a super chat to get things going, and then I will hand things off to you and Kevin for the rest of the day.
Sounds fantastic. Great way to start the preseason, and even better when it comes against Philly at Philly. Here's $16 in fan cash in honor of Mitch pulling down 16 rebounds in 18 minutes in the first half. Can be put toward a parlay on Saturday or a Mitch jersey at fanatics.com. Here's to a great season, KFS. I would love a Mitch jersey. I will just say that right now. I would love a Mitch jersey. I don't think I have a single jersey. I have jerseys and I have shirts. Knicks shirts, Knicks Film School shirts, everything in between. I don't have a jersey. I would wear a Knicks jersey, and you know why I would wear a Mitch jersey? Because Mitch always wears or he has in the past at least worn T-shirts under his jersey, so it's kind of fitting for the player. So I will take the jersey. That's just me though. Giddy up. Thanks, Fanatics Sportsbook. Appreciate you guys being back. All right, let us get to the super chats. Shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to everybody chatting. And hold on, one more shameless plug before we move on. Shout out to everybody who joined us in our brand new Knicks Film School live game chat today. Thanks to the folks at the BCC app. We had a great convo throughout the entire game. And all you got to do is go to chatnicks.com to download it. And I'll be on there again on Saturday. I'll be on there all through the preseason. I'll be chatting it up throughout the entire year, like during games, in between games. So if you want to be part of like the best Knicks group chat ever, again, just go to chatnicks.com, download that app, and come join the combo. Okay. On that note, let's get to the super chats. See what people want to talk about. Very excited. You're 9 doing this. Freaking wild. AL, Aura, and Bausch starts us off this season. Is Dadiet being shown off or being shown trust by the team? I would split the baby. I would say that he was being given a chance to show he belonged, being given a chance to prove himself. To everybody on the Knicks, everybody on the coaching staff, the whole thing. Because, and let's just extend this a step further. Like, if he went off, if he had a great game today, right? If he had a great game today, is that really going to be enough to convince, I don't want to make up some team out there, some crappy team who would be willing to give, like, who has 1 million second-round picks and be willing to give one up for Pakome Dadiet? Would that really be enough to convince a team to take on Pakome Dadiet because he had a good, 9-minute stint today for the Knicks? 15 minutes. I would be dubious about that. I think it was more about giving him an opportunity to show something to the people in this building or in the, in Penn Plaza. Did he do it? He couldn't hit shots, and he made a couple silly errors. But I do think that he did some nice things too. I'll be curious if he gets another chance to start on Saturday. I kind of hope he does. And maybe actually hit some shots because that would be cool. Thanks, Al. Good question to start us off. Next up, Nick Head. Excited to be back. Everyone showed something. The front office has some tough decisions to make. Let's go, Knicks. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a tough decision, but you get, they get 14 roster spots. So, like, it's not as if, like, this is not the level of decision that they had to make to go trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm not suggesting that, like, that's what you're saying. I understand you're more being just like kind of, it's a phrase that we use, some tough decisions. Yes, they have some tough decisions. In the grand scheme of things, I am not too worried. And I'm going to go back to something that this has become my theme with the Dadiet thing. If Dadiet has really showed them enough to where they're like, man, if we trade this guy, it's going to come back to bite us in the ass in a big way. I just don't think that they're going to trade him, and they don't have to. They could get rid of Tyler Kolek. I understand nobody's given up anything of value for Tyler Kolek. Just send Tyler Kolek along with you might have to do this, a second rounder that's like a half decent second rounder, and you get back like a top 55 protected second rounder. Like, there's a way to do it if you really want to keep Shamet and Brogdon. And oh, by the way, it's not like keeping Shamet and Brogdon is the be all end all. And I think that's what is another thing that has people kind of feeling a certain type of way about this whole situation, because how much value are they really going to give you? I personally, if I was running the team and I'm like, after my top 9, we think, Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet in some order are our 10th and 11th best players this season, I get wanting to keep them. And I think they should want to keep them. And I think they should be willing to trade a young player away to keep them, because guess what? Not everyone's going to stay healthy, and not everyone's going to stay healthy in the playoffs. You are going to need a 10th guy in the playoffs at some point in time. You might even need an 11th guy in the playoffs at some point in time. Just look at last season when Tibbs had DeLon Wright running around out there during a must-win game against the Indiana Pacers in the conference freaking finals. And DeLon Wright was good. I don't mean to disparage DeLon Wright, but he was like, what was he? He was like the 12th man or whatever he was. Landry Shamet was getting #meaningful minutes in that series. So you really do. You need everybody. That's the cliche. You need everybody, but to win the title, especially with how Mike Brown wants to play, and he wants to play fast and the whole thing, you're going to need everybody. So I guess this is my very long-winded way of agreeing with you, Nickhead. It is a tough decision, but there are tougher decisions that are out there that I'm happy they don't have to make. Maybe it's because I just don't, with the Kolek thing, if it does come down to Kolek, I just don't think that's going to be something that bites him in the ass. Not in a big way. Not like Dadiet maybe could if he actually hits, but who the hell knows if he's going to hit. Thanks, Nickhead. Drew P, what's going on, Drew? Good luck on content season, especially Claudio. Listen, Andrew's now it's free and easy because he has nobody that can hurt him anymore now that the Mets season is done, and he doesn't watch football. So that's good. But yeah, I'll take the good luck. I'm going to tease a tease, and I'm going to say stay tuned to this channel in the not too distant future, because we're going to be having some news coming your way about some additional ways that you can enjoy our content, or enjoy my content at the very least, and some other friends of mine here at Knicks Film School. But more on that in a bit. Thanks, Drew. Another one from Drew. Feels like Brown likes centers. Just had none in Sacramento. I mean, are you considering Domantas Sabonis a center? I don't know. I mean, to me, he's a center, and Mike Brown seemed to like Domantas Sabonis a lot, even though I feel like the rumor mill would suggest that Sabonis was maybe not the biggest fan of Mike Brown, but I don't know about that. I mean, Brown loved Trey Lyles in Sacramento, which is why there's a part of me that is surprised that Lyles didn't get the Alex Len spot. Len and Lyles both played for Brown, obviously, in Sacramento, but Lyles was the guy that Brown really leaned on a lot. Is he a center? Is he a 5? I don't know. I think Mike Brown loving Mitchell Robinson. Sure, that tells you something about Mike Brown, who came up before the Sacramento days. He came up as a defense-first coach. He was always known as a defense-first coach. He was a defense-first coach in Cleveland. He was a defense-first coach. That's why LA hired him, in part because he was a defense-first coach. But I think more than just Mike Brown, any coach, if you can give a coach a Mitchell Robinson and be like, here's a guaranteed, not a guaranteed top 10 defense, but when this dude is on the floor, you're going to have a top 10 equivalent to a top 10 defense. And then, oh, by the way, on the other end of the court, it's how many free opportunities are you going to get? Because he's just going to grab every offensive rebound imaginable. It's just Mitchell Robinson, when he's healthy, is such a luxury to have. And that's, again, why I kind of wanted to talk about him early on this postgame show, because I thought his play was really it was that notable. Okay. Thanks, Drew. Next up, Kevin Danishevsky, active in the chat today. J-Mac, I'd say Deuce is making a case to start, but Mitch's 16 rebounds are loud. Liked Brown's flexibility. Trade Kolek for a fake second. Mikal settled in. Yeah, I mean, look, I feel bad that Deuce doesn't seem to be getting a real shot, but at the same time, I can't very well gush about Mitchell Robinson and his impact on the game and then be like, how dare Mike Brown not give Deuce McBride a chance to start? Look, and I talked about this with James Edwards the other day. Mitchell Robinson is not going to play 35 minutes a night. He's probably not even going to play 30 minutes a night. This guy, to keep him healthy, he should be somewhere not too much more than 25, 26, maybe 27 minutes. That's where he should live. So it's not like starting him is going to take, it's not like a normal situation where you might have, if this guy starts, he's a 30-plus minute player, but if he comes off the bench, he's like in the low teens. That's not the case for Mitch. Deuce, I'm not sure that would be the case for him either. And by the way, here's the thing about Deuce. We know he doesn't get tired. We know he could stay out there. So if he comes in as a sub and he's really feeling it, he could absolutely close games. And I think he will close a lot of games this year. And that, not to say the overused phrase, but is more important than who starts. I just hope he's here because I like having Deuce McBride on this basketball team. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate you, man. Here's to a good season ahead. Husu, what's going on, Hus? Great to have you back. Off season really blew by so fast. Deuce, can't wait to give my never wrong, extremely level-headed takes throughout this season. Let's go Knicks. It was something. It seems like a while ago that last season ended. Just thinking about Game 6, and my God, that was not a fun day. But this offseason has also flown by for me, mostly because I've been very busy, as you could probably tell. Moved into a new house, which came with a lot of stuff, and has kept me very, very busy. Been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, trying to make this Knicks Film School season great, trying to make this upcoming, season just a really good one in terms of, other content that we will be putting out. And then, had a trip, was away for 2 weeks. So yeah, it did fly by. It was good summer, but happy to be back, man. It feels, this is where it feels like I'm supposed to be. And I don't think that's ever going to change. Thanks, Huss. Appreciate you, man. Danishevsky, what odds do you need for Mitch to make all defense? What odds? What odds do I need, or what odds would I bet it? So here's the problem. And it's the obvious problem. It's the games played thing. Because to bet Mitch all defense, it's like 60% of your bet is like, will he be good enough to be considered all defense? And like 40% of your bet is, will he play enough games to make all defense? Let's say this. If Mitchell Robinson had the Iron Man streak of Mikal Bridges, or like maybe not Mikal Bridges, but someone who like missed a handful of games every year and that's it, and you ask me what odds would I give for him to make all defense, I would probably say that I would definitely bet it at 4-1. I would definitely bet it at 4-1. I'd probably bet it at 3-1. Maybe. I don't know. Probably. Go for probably maybe. Now, when you factor in the likelihood that he's maybe going to miss too many games, and I hope he doesn't, obviously, but it's Mitch, I would probably need. I would bet it at 6-1. I would bet it at 6-1. That's where I would go with that. I would much rather just, again, do the thing I said earlier, shout out Fanatics Sportsbook, just bet the over on his rebounding totals for like the first month of the season until perception caught up with reality. Because he's going to play minutes and he's going to grab a lot of rebounds. So, yeah. Thanks, Kev. Next up, Benny Bills 26. What's going on, Benny? Love that Knicks ball is back. New Slim Reaper. You're not talking about Jalen Brunson. You're talking about Jordan Clarkson? That would be JC. I don't know. Why are we calling Jalen Brunson the Slim Reaper? Because of his haircut? I don't know. This is one of those ones that's over my head. Kev, if you have any clue, let me know. I don't know. Thanks, Benny. Jason, what's going on, Jason? Great to see you in the chat today. Big takeaway was Mitch's involvement in the offense. Oh, they said Jalen lost weight. Did he lose weight? Okay, I guess. Sure. It wasn't noticeable to me, but I'll that's fine. Okay. Big takeaway was Mitch involvement in the offense as a passer. Double big lineup depends on his growth as a facilitator, especially in the system. Yeah, that's you said it more eloquently than I did earlier. I just thought Mitch was involved. Like you can't run Mike Brown's offense the way Mike Brown is going to want to run his offense without having all 5 players be able to do basic shit, especially the center, especially the guy who is a hub. And that is even more true if it is a 7-foot human being who, if he is more than 3 or 4 feet away from the basket, teams are probably going to ignore. So if you put that together, and this actually runs counter to what I said before about how Mitch is such a luxury for every coach, and every coach would love to have Mitchell Robinson on the floor. This is the other side of that coin. The idea that you have someone that teams, if he is far enough away from the basket, are simply not going to guard, and he has to prove it that he can punish those defenses when he in those spots by doing exactly what you're saying, Jason. Be a facilitator. Be able to, do a dribble handoff or whatever the case may be, and not just screen and dive, and have a role in the offense that is a little bit more complex. Again, nobody's asking him to be Draymond Green or Domantas Sabonis or Nikola Jokic out here, but can you be more than what you have been? And that's, again, I completely agree with you, Jason. Even if it was little bitty signs, I thought it was notable, and I thought it was really important, and I thought it was a sign that Mike Brown is committed to making this work. Not today, not tomorrow, but in April and May and June, because they're going to need Mitchell Robinson if they want to go all the way to the finals. Thanks, Jason. Greg, film stuff. Oh, man, thank you. Very generous way to get the year started off. Appreciate you very much, bro. Congrats on 9 years and counting. Thank you. Glad you guys and Knicks basketball is back. The speed of the ball movement was great to see, and I like how early on our offense, doesn't care who scores. Salute to Kat and Mitch coming in shape. Yeah, they both look great. That's the goal, right? It doesn't matter who shoots. It doesn't matter was it a Phil Jackson quote or was it somebody else? Energy finds the ball or something along those lines. But just keep it moving. Keep it moving. And if you keep it moving, if you just make the next pass, and it sounds so easy, right? It sounds so easy. And it's like, well, why doesn't everybody do it? Because it does require selflessness. And it requires complete buy-in, and it requires a unity of purpose. That this season is not about all NBA or, not that anyone here is winning the scoring title but it's not about anybody's individual numbers or accolades. It's about what is best for this team. And they're going to say all the right things. Let's see if it sticks. And it is, for me, if I was going to do a top 5 questions about this season, number 1 for me would probably be how selfless can they be? Everybody. Because that's the thing, right? Selfishness is a disease. If one guy is selfish, then the guy next to him is going to be like, well, if he's looking out for himself, then why am I subsiding my own self-interest for the betterment of the team? So it really does need to be, alternatively, it tests your leaders, because if someone is not pulling their weight, the leaders of the team need to be able to go to that person and be like, hey man, this is not how we do things here. I will end by saying this. Coming off of last season, I was skeptical about the complexion of the team and whether the mix of players that they had could be as selfless as I felt they needed to be to win a title. I hope the fact that the front office did not even apparently look to make any trades involving any of those core pieces means that they aren't just sticking their head in the sand, and that instead they believe that everybody on this team has the selflessness required to do exactly what you're saying, Greg. And again, that'll play itself out over the course of a season. It's a long season, but we'll know one way or the other. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Kevin Nishevsky with another one. Trade Pakome and Kolek. Keep Brogdon, Shamet, and Matthews. Galaxy brain stuff from Kevin Nishevsky as usual. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they will. You know what? What is it going to cost you? What is it going to get you? I don't know. I mean, you want to talk about going all in, man, on this season. But like, again, Matthews, dude looked like an NBA player to me. He's looked like an NBA player every time I've seen him play against the Knicks. So, but it's interesting. Play this stuff out. The fact that he came into this situation knowing that he was going to be behind, at least at the outset, Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet, who the Knicks already need to make a move to accommodate both of them, says that like it wasn't exactly like teams were lining up to give Garrison Matthews a real shot at making their roster. So like, again, I wonder just why is that? Like, why do these players that appear to be like, oh, this is a guy who should be like, maybe not a rotation player on a good team, but like, a break in case of emergency guy. Why can't he catch on? I don't know. Thanks, Kev. Dom Cappuccini. Dom. I've missed you, Dom. I missed you at the town hall the other night. It's great to hear from you. First take on the first game. A lot of question marks on defense in the offseason. At the worst, I think they'll be average or slightly below. I'll predict they won't be in the bottom 10 by the end of the season for what it is worth. They have question marks, but they will play hard on defense. And they have, in theory, 3 elite all-defense caliber defenders on this roster. In Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, whose name we haven't talked about a lot today because he didn't play. And yes, Mikal Bridges. And I'm not putting like whether they are or are not a top 10 defense on Mikal Bridges' shoulders, but I will say this. If Mikal Bridges goes out there and looks the part on defense, looks the part like we expected him to look last season, and I personally am still hopeful that he can look this season, even if we didn't see it today. If he looks the part and they get, 65, 70 games from Mitch, 65, 70 games from OG, and Mikal obviously plays every game, then, yeah, I think they will be a top 10 defense. I really do. I think they will be a top 10 defense. With Deuce and Hart, like guys will be, again, theoretically bought in. I'm sure Mike Brown is going to have a plan in place because again, it all comes back to defense for Mike Brown for as much as we talk about the offense. So I'll predict, if I was going to set an over-under, I'd probably set an over-under for their defensive ranking at the end of the year at like, probably set it like 12.5, 13.5, something like that. Maybe that's 11.5, something like that. I would set it around there. I would set it in like the low teens. And I'd probably take the under. I think they'll be a good defense. Maybe the more interesting question is how good an offense can they be? We'll see. Thanks, Dom. Dom with another one. If healthy, Mitch will be very happy in his new role. Is year 8 for Mitch. I said I've been doing this for 9 years. That first year I started doing these post games, Mitchell Robinson was in high school. No, actually, that's a lie. He wasn't in high school. He wasn't in college, but he was just hanging out. That's what he was doing. He was hanging out. He wasn't on the Knicks. Let's just say that he was not on the Knicks. My point is that this is year 8 for Mitchell Robinson, and I really do think it could be the best year yet. We've had moments every season over the last 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it's been. We've had moments in every one of those years where it's like, oh man, this is the year that Mitchell Robinson puts it all together. And we see the stretches and we see the progress. I for sure thought all defense was incoming 2 years ago, and then he got hurt. And then last season we saw it, but we saw it after he only played in whatever it was, 17 regular season games. He's just got to stay healthy, man. He's just got to stay healthy, man, because Mike Brown is gonna pump him up. I think he's gonna be. Tibbs was obviously a great coach for Mitch. I think Mike Brown's gonna be a great coach for Mitch. So that's really exciting and encouraging. Thanks, Tom. Armand, what's going on, Armand? Bird and I. Jordan Clarkson is the Michael Jordan of Josh Hart's. Well, he might be. He thinks he's the Michael Jordan of like. Just stop. There's no Michael. There's no of. It's just Jordan Clarkson thinks he's Michael Jordan. And look, you need those guys. You really do. You need those guys on your team. He said the thing that you wanted to hear him say before the season when he was like, "Look, I know there are times where I take bad shots." He knows he needs to rein it in. I think he will. I really do. I think he will. I think Jordan Clarkson's gonna be fine. I'm not out on Jordan Clarkson. Yeah. It's one preseason game. He'll be all right. Thanks, Armin. And another one from Armin. I like what I'm seeing so far, but is this the right system for injury-prone players like Mitch, OG, and Cat to an extent? So because they're running a lot. I mean, you just got to be in great condition. And to somebody else said this. I didn't even say this. Mitch, Cat, like those guys look like they were in great condition already. OG is a guy, seems to keep himself in good shape. To me, the system that they're running and the pace at which they're playing and all that is being asked to do or these players to do, it goes hand in hand with the minutes thing. Could you play this system and then play and run these guys out there for the minutes that Tom Thibodeau ran them out there? Absolutely fucking not. And part of the reason why Tibbs was comfortable playing his guys the minutes that he played them is because of the system that he had them running. Where it was like, there's going to be a lot of possessions where, guess what? You're standing around watching Jalen Brunson do his thing. I guarantee you that was part of Tom Thibodeau's justification. Even Tom Thibodeau would be crazy enough to play the guy the minutes that he played them in this sort of system. But that's why Mike Brown is going to play, I think, play his guys less. What is less? What is the minutes leader on this team? How many minutes are they going to average? Are they going to average 35 minutes? Are they going to average 34 minutes? Are they going to average 33 minutes? Mikal Bridges. I'll look it up right. I mean, I know like a lot of guys played a lot of minutes the last few years, but Bridges in particular, here he's been at 37 last year, 34.8 the year before, 35.7, 34.8. Those are his last 4 years. So the lowest among them was 34.8, which he did twice. Is he now going to go down to like 32, 33 minutes a night? I don't know. Karl-Anthony Towns. Like Karl-Anthony Towns is a guy who he's had a couple of seasons down there in the low 30s. He was actually, no, he was at 33 point something for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row. And then his last year in Minnesota, he was at 32.7. And then last year he went up to 35. So like Karl-Anthony Towns, he's a prime candidate to go back down to exactly where he was for the entirety of his career. 33 point, whatever, 33.1, 33.2. OG with what they're going to ask him to do on the defensive end of the floor. Him also, I would say 33 minutes a game, something around there. And then Brunson is, we'll see with Brunson. 2 straight All-NBAs, man. All-NBA second teams, excuse me. I'm sure he does not hate those accolades. Is he still going to be able to put up the numbers that he puts up and like get the attention that he gets, especially with an adjusted role, playing 32 minutes a night? I don't know. We'll see. It's something I'm watching. Thanks, Armin. Dom, what's going on, Dom, with another one? Appreciate you, man. I missed most of the second half. Is there any need for irrational excitement for Brogdon as a potential main backup point guard? His passing vision still looks crisp. Yeah, I went through I actually went back and watched every assist from last season for Malcolm Brogdon for today's newsletter. Shout out again to all my Substackers out there. He could pass it, man. He could pass it if he's healthy. See, here's the problem. I can't sit here and be like, if Malcolm Brogdon's healthy, he should absolutely play, because I'm not going to get the calculator out. I've done it several times already. But just if you're bored at night, if you have 5 minutes later, just start typing in 32 plus 32 plus like keep the starters numbers low. You know, put in 26 minutes for Mitch. Put in, 25, 24 minutes for Deuce, which is low. Put in 25, 26 minutes for Hart, which is low. Like, you're going to get to a certain point where it's like, oh, okay, are Jordan Clarkson and Malcolm Brogdon both playing, 12 minutes a game or something? Like, you run out of minutes. So I can't sit here and be like, if Malcolm Brogdon's healthy, he should absolutely be a rotation player for the team. I can't say that. That said, the dude looks like he hit a spot up three, which was great to see. I think he's still a good NBA player. Like I was looking into a lot of the numbers, like the on-off metrics were really great for Portland 2 years ago. Granted, he was playing opposite Scoot Henderson. So like when Henderson was off, he was on, which helps your on-offs a lot when you're doing that with rookie year Scoot Henderson. But like, a big thing that I found for Brogdon, because a lot of people might look at his stats and be like, well, wait a minute, this guy shot 28% from deep last year. Yeah, he shot 28% from deep, but that's because he was 3 of 20 on pull-up threes. On catch-and-shoot threes, he was, I think, either 15 to 35 or 16 to 35, whatever it was. It worked out to 37%. So, like, he can still shoot it. Like, got a solid handle. He's got good size. He can make all the passes. Like, he's a good player. I don't know, like, what's his role going to be? Is he okay with that role? Those are the questions that we don't have answers to right now. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you. Let's do with another one. I still remember the COVID post games. Just celebrated being 500. Crazy that we've gotten to to the destination we've been talking about for ages. We Here. I got my We Here shirt right next to me. I put all my Knicks shirts down here on this little shelf. Here, I'll show you guys some. Let's see, what do we got here? I'll show off one thing and then move on. So this, yeah. I was originally going to put this up somewhere on the wall behind me, but this was my, see that? This was my Knicks starter jacket. I think it's a starter jacket. The official, yeah, right? Yeah, it's a starter jacket. So youth extra large. Who am I fucking kidding? It would probably still fit me. But when I tell you I wore this thing like every day from when I was like 10 years old until I was like 12 or 13, like every day that my mom would let me wear this bad boy, I wore it. So yeah, man, we've been through a lot. If you go back as far as me, you were there for the 90s and you were there for a lot of really shitty basketball. And then you were there for, we a bunch of dogs. Remember that? We're a bunch of dogs. Got a bunch of dogs on this team. Yeah. I had a bunch of dogs on this team. All right. That didn't go so great. And then out of the blue, we got this basketball team that was just, unexpected and inspiring. And that's really where these post games got started in earnest in the way that we have been doing this now for, I guess, what was that? That was the 2021 season. So yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 5 years before this one on YouTube, at least. It's crazy. Come a long way. And the Knicks are a really good basketball team, which is cool to say. It's cool to talk about for sure. Thanks, Hush. Mr. Top Shotta, I think. Oh, my mom just texted me. Certainly, so that means she's watching and she said something. I do remember that jacket. Of course you do. Anyway, Mr. Top Shotta. Hey, John, long time listener, first time super chatter. I definitely want to see more of Dadiet, but I'm all the way cool letting Tyler go if someone has to go. Yeah, again, just we haven't done the logistical part of it, but there is a logistical downside to it being Kolek instead of Dadiet, which is that your buffer in that case, I did the math. I don't have it handy. It's like $43,000 below the second apron. Like $43,000, which means like I honestly don't even know if that's enough to sign like a 10-day guy in March. You're definitely not adding a 15th player to the roster for the postseason. You're not doing that. But you are right up against it, like with no wiggle room at all. So and that's I'm not even talking about the possibility you might want to make a trade, at the deadline or something. So if you move Dadiet, it gives you a little bit more wiggle room than that. I don't know. We'll see what they do. Well, it seems like it's gonna be Dadiet, but I don't know. We'll see. Thanks, Mr. Top Shadow. Tom the dentist, talking about guys who've been here for a hot minute. Hey there, Macri. Just had to drop in between patients to say I can't wait for the season and congrats again on going full time. Thank you. Hashtag 53 and 16 wins. So that's what? It just hit me now. How nobody on this channel of degenerates has ever thought to put 2 and 2 together that 53 wins plus 16 wins equals 69. That's just a terrible job by all involved. Most of all me. I blame myself. So I look, hashtag 53 wins, that'll live forever, but I don't know if we want to get hashtag 69 wins, because that, you could take that in a number of directions. Shout out to Foreplay. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you chiming in as always. Was that the last one? That's appropriate. That was the last super chat of this first post game of what did I say? Year 9. How I haven't gotten canceled yet? Absolutely beyond me. Hopefully, my children's future is secured by the time that day finally comes. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please like this video. Oh wait, we have the. Hold on, where's the thing? We have a thing, Kev. We have a thing. I'm gonna put it up. There it is. Now we gotta take the banner down. Hold on. Let's see if this is me producing, by the way. There you go. Kevin, help me out. So we got a lot of reminders here. Follow Knicks Film School on all of your social channels at Knick Film School. That is SKOOL. And I will give a shameless plug to follow me on Instagram. I did my first ever Instagram live stream earlier today while I was walking my dog. Walking your doggy. Shout out to Al Pacino. Talking about I forget what the hell I was talking about, but I'll be trying to do that stuff. I'm posting a lot on Instagram now. I'm at what am I? JC Macri NBA. So follow me on there. Follow us here on the YouTube channel. Subscribe. We're getting close to 50K. That's cool. Make sure you turn on the alerts. Give us a 5-star rating, nice review. Get more attention to Knicks Film School to help us continue to do what we do. And then the bonus content on Substack. Shout out to all my Substackers out there. You can subscribe to the Knicks Film School newsletter. It's like the price of a expensive cup of coffee for a month, I think. I don't know how much does coffee go for now. I think coffee in Brooklyn. This is why I'm like, I miss Brooklyn. I'm also not heartbroken. I'm pretty sure at one point I paid like $9 for a cup of coffee at some fancy coffee shop in Brooklyn, which the appropriate response is, Macri, why the hell are you living in a place where there's $9 cups of coffee? And if you are, why would you actually spend the $9 on the cup of coffee? Again, I take ownership. I have nobody but myself to blame. But in any case, yes, you could subscribe to the Knicks Film School newsletter. You subscribe to our Patreon, where me and DJ just recorded an episode about our top 6 players of the last 25 years. So that was fun. Don't forget about chatnix.com if you want to chat with us during games. Did I forget anything? Shout out to Fanatics. Appreciate their partnership for another year. And of course, most importantly, shout out to all of you for making another season of Knicks basketball here at Knicks Film School a reality. We love doing this. I speak on behalf of the entire team here. We are incredibly, incredibly excited to get things started this season and provide you with, and I say this with confidence, the absolute best Knicks content that there is out there anywhere. because we all love it. And I am blessed to be surrounded by some incredibly talented people, not the least of which are GMAC and Kev Words, who teamed up to produce this episode. On that note, everybody enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I will see y'all on Saturday after the next preseason game. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week and take care.